Welcome, welcome, and bienvenidos, and thank you for joining us on Tech and Tequila. I am super pumped and excited today. I have Miss Chelsea and Mr. Reggie on here from NEC, and we are going to talk all things unified communications, talk about kind of where NEC is going, and of course, the latest announcement. We're recording this on the 13th. I don't know how you feel about that number, but it's a powerful number. We all have great things happening today. And I hope everyone's having a magnificent Monday. So let me go ahead and get started. Chelsea, I've known you for a while and I'm super excited to have you on here. So why don't you just kind of take a minute and introduce yourself and what role you play in the channel and with NEC?
Awesome. Thanks, Kat. Thank you for having us, me and Reggie on here. And happy Monday to all your viewers and, all the listeners out there. So I am Chelsea Tambis. I have been with NEC for a little over 4 years now, and I am with the our TSD channel with our, App Direct and Toyers, as well as our national accounts here with Reggie. And I've loved working, for NEC and with the team that I've started with. So I'm very, very happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you being here, Chelsea. I have been blessed to get to know you over the last couple of years and enjoyed working with you at NEC. But I see we have Reggie here as well. So, Reggie, why don't you kind of give us the background and how you help with NEC and help with clients as well?
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon. By the way, 13 is my favorite number because that's the day my birthday is on the 13th. So I like these days. My name's Reggie Manister. I've been with NEC about 13 years. I'm a national account manager, and it's been great working for NEC. I've watched the evolution of the industry. It's an ever-moving industry, as we all know, but super excited to talk with you today.
Awesome, and thank you. I'm so pumped to have you guys. Like I said earlier, I would be remiss. This is Tech and Tequila. So before we move on to the exciting discussions about NEC, unified communication, contact center, and what all that, how you guys help businesses, what is y'all's favorite tequila or favorite tequila beverage, so to speak?
I'd have to say margarita on ice.
Yeah, me too, actually. Exactly the same. Cold margarita. Cold as better.
Love it, love it. Gotta go with the basics sometimes, man. And we just passed Cinco de Mayo, so it's definitely a day to enjoy it. As I'm sure, you guys have been inundated over the last couple of weeks with questions because NEC recently announced that it was sunsetting its on-prem phone systems. And by that, obviously it's not going to go away tomorrow, but I think having an understanding of what that pathway looks like and why NEC made that decision. So I wanted to kind of get you all's take on it from, Miss Chelsea and Reggie.
Yeah, so I'll take that one. So the reality of the industry over the last several years has been a decline in the on-prem solutions in terms of sales and revenue, roughly about 8% year over year for the last several years. So, the decision had to be made on what to do about that at some point. So NEC Japan has made that decision to stop selling the solutions in every business unit outside of Japan. The product's not going away. It's just not going to be sold in the regions outside of Japan. We have got an extended support timeline for it. It's not like it's just going to go away. We are going to continue to sell systems throughout the year, at the end of the year, and then support until March 31st, 2026. So that's where we're at right now. But it is an indication where we're moving, where the industry is moving to.
Well, and I think that kind of leads up for what I like to call, how they always say people are like server huggers, people who want to have their server on site and physically be able to touch them. I think there are some people out there that want to still have an on-prem phone system. And you guys have a good mix of a fully cloud phone system with Univerge Blue, but you also have a way to kind of bridge the path kind of in the intermediate, I guess I would say in the medium with your bridge products. I mean, how does that kind of play in going forward, or where do you see that uh, working out for your businesses?
So with the continued support through 2026, there's a timeline there for migration towards the cloud. And as you said, we have an option there. There is customers who prefer to see a box in a room, but that was more relevant in the old days because the internet wasn't as strong as it is today and as secure. So moving to the cloud is really a different conversation than it was 5-10 years ago. But yeah, using Bridge, we have technology in place to actually connect the on-site system to the cloud, and use the enhancements from our Blue Connect product with just using the dial tone and some features from the PBX. So it's a migration of, especially if it wasn't an old purchase on the on-premise stuff, or they've got some support that's continued. It gives them a mechanism to retain some of that investment for a while before fully migrating to the cloud. So we feel like that's a very good option for our customers.
I think that's awesome the way that it has this where it's kind of the best of both worlds, especially as, like I said, some people that still really want to have that box and still kind of have that level of control before completely moving. And I know that NEC has been around for, I would like to say forever, but I know that it was actually founded 1899. So it's been around a while.
Yeah, it's been around a long time.
It has. What do you all feel is kind of some of the biggest differentiators that NEC has right now
So NEC
in the market?
So NEC,
Mhm.
our aim is to modernize your business communications, right? So since 1889, NEC's built a reputation of delivering reliable communications for their customers, and it's paired with unparalleled customer service. So that's what we bring to the table. We bring technology that has been tested, that we are happy with, that's out there, and we know that customers will love, versus just putting something out there that may need work on, and we'll just use the customers as the beta testers.
Yeah, I'll add to that too. Is what we've built up over the years is our channel partner network. So we deliver the products and services, but we also have a integration arm full of partners throughout the country that work actually directly with the end users as well. So that creates a level of comfort, kind of a white glove scenario for the customers.
Well, and I think that's been a big differentiator for you guys is kind of that white glove experience or the mix of having, being in the channel as well as working within the dealer network that you guys have. Um, I know one of the things moving forward with Univerge Blue that I don't think that we can talk enough about with businesses is the fact that it allows you to communicate and connect with your customers through multiple avenues, not just through your traditional phone calls, but through messaging and other items. As far as that is concerned, where do y'all see kind of all of that heading here in, let's say, the next couple of years, if we had a magic ball?
Yeah, so it's been interesting the last 4 years. I mean, first, we were actually heading, we already had a mobile workforce, before COVID. COVID kind of added a different aspect to that rather than being, an enabler of mobility. It was kind of forced on us. So everyone was doing mobile. You had all different companies doing collaboration things and that, whatever. They, Zoom and stuff like that. But, since we've kind of sort of leveled off a little bit technology wise after COVID, we also had to struggle with the chip shortage crisis there for a while too, which really interrupted technology sales. But I think we've leveled off now where, like you said, the enhancements of the cloud solution and mobility has really come into the frame again because we are a normal or becoming normal mobile workforce again. We're not so crazy sitting behind masks and stuff like that. But mobility is one of the strongest things because it brings all that technology to a device you can take anywhere. You can take your laptop down to Starbucks, or you can, use your iPhone or Android and just about run around anywhere you can connect to 5G. So, and you get all the features we've been talking, or, we have like the chats and the texts and, the voice calls and all that, and the collaboration. So it's all there in one place, wherever you need it.
Yeah, it allows you to be productive without having an office infrastructure.
Yep.
Yep. And I think there is one more thing that I really wanted to add to that, because I think sometimes there's a perception that somebody going from like on-prem to going into the hosted or a cloud phone system is that it's going to be so much more expensive. When in fact, when you look at what all it takes over, you're actually in the long run kind of saving money, as well as to a certain extent. And I think of this more with salespeople being in the field, is you have kind of like some brand protection built in there. What do you guys kind of see as a percentage, or like, I don't want to say an average amount, but where people are seeing that return of investment?
I mean, I think what it shows you, I mean, it's actually a different fiscal model. But I think what we're finding, is, the adoption of cloud actually fits better into the budget than, having to, I mean, especially in large enterprise for sure, having to run a budget cycle with, hundreds of thousands or, even a few million, depending on the size of the customer. And honestly, we're most people want to text anyway, so why not take your technology out there on the road? I mean, I think, what was it, about 90% of cars. I even talked to a doctor's office the other day that only takes texts as incoming calls. If you want a question or set an appointment or any conversation, it starts with a text. So it's definitely coming to the forefront.
And with the cloud, it allows you to be flexible, right? And then on top of that, you get the newest technology, because when you're in the cloud, we push upgrades to the customer. You don't really need to buy anything new at that point. I mean, you have your cloud system as long as you have it, and as often as we publish any new technology, it's all the customers automatically get it.
Yeah, and just to add to Chelsea's point there, the cloud technology is always current. On the on-prem, we bring out features 2 or 3 times a year that require an upgrade, a technician on site, download it to the CPU and, do some work in the background. But the cloud's always current. It's always modern. You'll get everything new immediately pushed out to your devices.
Absolutely. And I think that's to me, that differentiator we can't really talk about enough, because if you have someone who is used to a traditional on-prem phone system, I mean, even just moving a phone from one room to another can sometimes require having a technician come on site. Whereas with a cloud, and I always say this, in theory, sometimes there's little snafus along the way, but generally, you could even take your office phone and take it home if you needed to, and be able to figure out a way to make that work for you, as well as, you have a mobile app, you have the desktop app, you're not just kind of, I don't want to say stuck with, but you don't have that phone right there. The other thing is, and I think you guys touched on it really well, is that I know when you look at statistics, is that 90% of people prefer being able to message a business and being able to get that quick response.
Right.
And that definitely addresses that right there. I don't think you can get through a conversation in tech these days without discussing AI and kind of what AI is bringing to the table. And I know NEC is doing AI, and has some upgrades with that. Can either one of you kind of speak on what AI you have now, and maybe some stuff that's on the map going forward?
Right. We have as far as, AI in depth, and Reggie can speak more to it. But what I can tell you, my favorite AI that we have is every customer gets this. They get pretty much their own chat GPT within the client, so they can ask it questions. They can, have it create paragraphs for them, create emails for them. And then another AI that's also that I love that we have is meeting transcription, because it transcribes what was said in the meeting and it emails it to the host. And it listens for phrases like "I will" and "next steps," and it will create task summaries for the host and the attendees. So that, certainly improves productivity there, because everyone will see, a task summary of what everyone else needs to do versus having to go back and forth on, hey, who needs to do this, who needs to do that. I mean, it's already there. It is for productivity. It's, it helps your documentation. It becomes better because of that.
Yeah. So I'll add to that as well. Chelsea's exactly right. We've had AI for a while already. I mean, as simple as voicemail transcription, to as complex as picking out a meeting and assigning tasks based on the conversation. We also, and it doesn't stop there. We also, in the contact center, are trying to pick up on sentiments and put analytics around what's the tone of the caller, what do they sound like, what words are they saying in the call that you can use for coaching methods or resolution methods on the call. So all that is there, and it's just an evolving thing. The AI conversation is it's growing itself. I mean, there's new things coming every day, and we're just playing catch up with it right now.
I know that's true. It feels like every time you turn new AI or a new way to use it, or, kind of going into the future. So I was looking at some of the things that kind of come up, and I wanted to reiterate, kind of what we had touched on. Obviously is utilizing AI and has that. I love the transcription thing, because I can't tell you how many times I use that personally. Is, you get off a meeting and it sends you the reply saying, hey, here's what you need to do. So you've got that, and obviously the ease of setting up with going in the cloud, having the bridge model. But if there's anything that either one of you could add that maybe that we've kind of missed here, and not talked about, what would that be? Or what would be a point that you want to make sure that we
that AI definitely helps with productivity, and evolving it doesn't mean replacing certain types, right? It's there to help you as a person, as a worker, to just with productivity, and to be efficient, help you assess, help your customers better, right? Especially in the contact center, it'll help you learn more about your customers and, provide them the best service that you can.
Yeah, because one thing that changes is, a customer experience. What level of experience do they want? I mean, if you go back to healthcare, somebody over 65 to 70, they don't want to text. They never have, right? They want a phone call. So having that channel available. But then you got, the younger generations that, I've got a kid myself. He don't want to pick up the phone and talk to me. He wants to text me all the time. So, there's another channel you have to accommodate there. And if you can meld all them, services and just create and construct a good customer experience for whatever media is used to communicate, then that's where AI becomes powerful, because it can help you construct and maintain and provide that level of service to your customers.
Absolutely. And I think that, it's so important in this day and age. I mean, as a way to differentiate yourself as a business owner, as how you connect with your customers, how can you provide them a better customer experience? And likewise, kind of, what you were talking about with, if you're using it for any type of call center functionality, is, how can you internally improve that experience that they have, especially with the back end analytics, as well as if you see people calling in for a particular thing, how can we alleviate that issue? How can we alleviate that problem? And I think that's huge right there. So important. As far as with each of you, a lot of times when someone has decided to go down this path and they're looking at upgrading or updating, I don't want to say overwhelming, but they're kind of like, oh, we get inundated with all these different providers and all these different options. Kind of what is your biggest recommendation about where to start, things to look for, and obviously where NEC fits into that equation?
Yeah, so we're a little bit different, like we talked about earlier, in terms of the channel model and the dealers, right? So what that really enables for the end user is not just to have an 800 number call and not just end up, somewhere in the midst of a cloud. Now, we can provide that. I mean, and sometimes that works for small companies, but mid-sized companies, large companies need that, like we said, that white glove support, and that enables them to work through issues, projects, installations, arm in arm with a partner. And again, we can do it either way, but that's one of the strengths we provide, is enabling that type of service for the customers.
And to add to that, with NEC's reputation of delivering communication solutions, right? We really do deliver solutions. We don't just say, oh, you need XYZ. Well, here's XYZ. We need to know what the customer is trying to achieve, right? What their end result, what they want to see, and, the best way to deliver that end result. Because if we don't understand what they're trying to do, we cannot give them, the right, the proper thing that they need. So we really do try. It's, we base all of it just on solutions. We study what the customer needs, wants, and, we start with that, we start with needs and wants. And then to build on that, we build on, okay, since you want and need XYZ, you may look into this in the future, because, we expect the customers to grow, right? Businesses should be growing, expanding their customer bases. So it's not only do we say, here's what you need now, here's what you want to happen in the future. You also need to look at this as you grow, as you get bigger, as you add more employees, as you gain more customers.
Yeah, and I'll follow up on that one more time, because that's great. I mean, because, there is a pre-sale process. I mean, it's not all about selling it and then putting it in. I mean, it's designing it correctly. So, we have a group of engineering. We have an engineering group that can help with design and putting together solutions as well. And the partners also have that as well. So, we have full demo capabilities. So we can really get into the pre-sales trenches with our customer in more of a consultative approach, and really get into their business and help them understand where this technology will help, as Chelsea said, help grow their business.
Yeah, and I think that's really the point with any business. It's obviously you want to grow and you want to have use of a solution, because a lot of times when you go and you implement something new, it's people are, let's just say, adverse to change. But
right.
When you have that white glove experience and you take that consultative approach, it allows you to make sure that this solution that you're bringing to the table is going to fit you today and tomorrow, and be able to upgrade. We've covered a lot here today in a very short amount of time, which is great. If there's any 3 things that you both wanted to leave the listeners with, what would those 3 things be?
Chelsea, you want to start?
I was going to ask you if you wanted to start. Well, I guess number one, for NEC and for anyone listening out there, I know that there are a lot of providers out there, but we have been around a long time with, customers that are forefront about what we always think about, how we can always better their business. So I think that would be number one. I want, the listeners to know that we're here for the customers.
I think, also embrace the technology. We've talked about earlier, some people, just want to hold on to, the server in the room, and I don't want it to go. Don't leave me, but embrace the technology. I mean, it really has moved forward in time to help you. Again, it's putting you on the street to be able to do business anywhere. And I mean, the third thing is obviously, we've already talked about, the brand. We've already talked about the technology. And just future-proof yourself. take a step back in your business and say, you know what, I got a lot of things to worry about. What if I don't have to worry about that anymore? And I can just let it roll and it fits into my budget perfectly and I'm good to go.
Definitely. I think those are all important points. I mean, when you look at it, we've covered AI, we've covered NEC's announcement and kind of, I'm going to say, phase out or grandfathering the on-prem phone system. But like I said, for anyone out there, that there's nobody that needs to freak out. It's a long transition, but it gives you plenty of time to really evaluate how to move forward and how to future-proof. And honestly, I mean, NEC's tagline is orchestrating a brighter world. So it allows for you to interact with your customers in a great way. Well, I want to thank you two both for joining me today.
Thank you.
And, getting such great information. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Today's episode of Tech and Tequila. I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. To stay updated about all things tech and more, don't forget to visit us at our website, shelbyts.com. If you loved what you heard, remember to show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our podcast. Your 5-star ratings and reviews mean the world to us and help us to reach more listeners just like you. So muchas gracias again for joining us with Tech and Tequila. Thank you so much. You learned a lot about tech, and maybe you had a nice drink of tequila.